purport, the living entities in this material world, not only at present, but also in the past, have been involved in trying to solve the problem of birth and death. Some stress death and point to the illusory existence of everything material, whereas others stress life, trying to preserve it perpetually and enjoy it to the best of their ability. Both of them are fools and rascals. It is advised that one observe the eternal time factor, which is the cause of material body's appearance and disappearance, and that one observe the living entities' entanglement in this time factor. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur therefore sings in his Gita-vali, Anadi Kalmana Palle, Padi Bhava Nava Jalle, Tarivare Na Deki Upaya. One should observe the activities of eternal time, which is the cause of birth and death. Before the creation of the present millennium, the living entities were under the influence of the time factor, and within the time factor, the material world comes into existence and is being annihilated. Bhutva Paliyate. Being under the control of the time factor, the living entities appear and die, life after life. This time factor is the impersonal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gives the living entity conditioned by material nature a chance to emerge from this nature by surrendering unto Him. Surrendering to Him. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Umiltam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, before I speak, I'd like to ask you blessings. Pancha kalpa tarubhascha kripa sindhu bhyavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namah. So I can say something. Here in this purport, as well as the translation, it is stressed about time factor. As soon as I read this verse, one instant came to my mind around 10 years ago. I was doing japa outside the fence, because there is a field, and they grow some plants. And there was, at that time, now the road is quite wide. At that time, the road is very narrow, so that, a lot of kind of weeds and grass. And I'm walking along the japa, and then it was around before just the winter, and then all they harvested and they kind of flat ground, there was no plant. And then one pigeon was sitting right next to the pathway. Normally when people walking by and then the birds fly away, but this pigeon sat down and, as if he does a meditation, blinking eyes very slowly, almost he's not really blinking, he just opened his eyes very in deep kind of a look, and then sat down and then like this, quietly. And then I was quite amazed at this bird, and then I stopped my chanting and looked at him, and he didn't fly away, and then just sitting like that. I thought, bird also doing some meditation, very strange. And then I walked all the way up the top, and then I went back, I came down again, and then this bird died. Actually, this bird waiting the moment of death. And then I realized that these animals, they're facing death quite gracefully. It's not like a human being. Human being, when they meet death, first of all, human being, nowadays, we are living in such a society that we take birth in the hospital and then we die in the hospital. And then all the doctors, they're trying to surviving, and then they put on, oh, we are losing him, bring the electrical things, and then, and then body jumps up to the air. This is kind of how we end this body in this day and age. And then I was remembering that actually, now human beings are so degraded, we have a long way to go to reach animal status of life. Not even talk about even the human beings in olden days, how proper human beings, to become proper human being. And then Prabhupada talks about actually spiritual life of human beings. Kind of, we have one step, we have to become animal state. And the second step, we have to be human being. And the third step is a spiritual kind of a life. And the Prabhupada somehow kind of picked us up from the lower stage to right to the top rung of the kind of a hierarchy. You know, here, it's time factor. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, said, Kalosmi, time I am. And then, those who doesn't believe this time, Krishna says that, Mritu salvascha aham. Mritu haras salvascha. I'm come as death, and I take away all. I'm devouring death. Krishna come as death. Not only Krishna takes away, and then next line it goes that uppavascha bhavishyatam. So whatever yet to be, I'm the future manifestation of that generating principle. So he creates everything, he takes away everything. So in this way, if you look at it in the Prabhupada's famous quote here, Ahara nirda bhaya maitunam cha samanyam yet pashubir nurinam. So eating, sleeping, and depending, and maitunam cha. Sex life is samanyam. It's equal. It's there in pashubir, it's the animal kingdom, and naranam, amongst the human being. And then dalmoi desham adiko vishesho dalmena hina pashubir samanaha. Both animals and men share the activities of eating, sleeping, mating, and depending. But the special property of human is that they are able to engage in spiritual life. Therefore, without spiritual life, humans are on the level of animals. So once we take up spiritual life, actually we become a human being. Unless until we take up human being, take up spiritual life, we can't be human being. But now today, as I mentioned, my focus is that how human beings are more degraded than animal. First of all, ahara, eating wise. Animal never overeats. They always eat as much as they could, as much as they digest. As long as their belly is full, they stop eating. But human beings, they eat more than necessary. That's why Rupa Goswami said, first principle of kind of devotional life, you should don't eat more than necessary. Ahara. And also, animal never stores any food, apart from particular animals. Animal in general, they don't store food. For example, on the street, one bag of rice, you throw it. One bag of rice. And the birds fly, and they eat a little bit, and they will go away. And the squirrel comes, they eat a little bit, they will go away. But human being comes, you know what they do? First of all, they look back. Who is watching? And then put the bag on the shoulder and then run away. That's a human being. Yes? And also, if, for example, tiger or lion, if they are full, then the rabbit is walking along, they don't touch them. They don't kill them. Not like a human being. You know, if you go to Tesco or to Ajda, you go to midsection, they're fully stored. And then the process of their making is incredibly. Last lecture, I explained that around 67,000 cows per day that McDonald's are killing. And also, you look at sometimes, I don't know, when you are young, I'm sure you remember that you're watching some circus, that they showing the tiger or lion, they open their mouth, and then the shower, they stick their head inside of the tiger. Yes? You know how do they do it? Basically, before they show, they feed him fully. So that even if they stick their head in it, they don't bite. And so, one of the most ferocious animals is called crocodile. Once they bite, they never let go. And then, the samsara saga, in the material life is like, we are bitten by crocodile, and then once you bite it, enter into it, you can typically get out. And then this crocodile also, they show that in Australia, there are a lot of crocodiles, and then they're showing that the people, in the show, and then the people basically nearly entering their body inside the crocodile, and then they're just showing and they come back, and they show the craziest and this kind of crazy. No. Before they show, they feed the crocodile as much as they want to eat. So in this way, animals, they are regulated in eating, and also they have more regulated life than human being. So, one time, the Rockefeller in America, the one of a kind of a richest man used to be. And then one reporter asked him, "You are very rich. In your opinion, in order to be to have feeling of rich, how much is enough? How much is enough to be called as rich man?" What is your answer? What do you think? Is it £1 million or £1 billion? What is it? What is your opinion? How much is enough? He asked the reporter. The reporter asked Rockefeller, "How much is enough?" As long as you feel your belly, you are rich. Are you sure? Am I rich? Yeah, you. Never enough. Quite good answer. And the lady side, how much is enough to be rich? Never enough. Rockefeller said, just a little bit more. What an answer, isn't it? You, in one sense, like Rockefeller, you know the kind of psychology of Rockefeller. It's never enough. He said, just a little bit more. This is a human being's mentality. But animals, they know when to stop. But we don't stop at all. Go again and in and out, whatever, day in, day out. That's why ahara, next one is nidra. Nidra means sleep, yes. Animal, when night falls and sun sets, animal goes to sleep. But human beings, they don't sleep. Unfortunately, we don't sleep. And then because of, so many, the medical report, because of so many stress, all this modern disease has to do with the lack of sleep. Either making too much money, or either enjoying their senses, watching things, or doing something else at night. Krishna created in the world in a way that at night you rest, and sunrise you get up. The simple lifestyle. We don't do that somehow or other. The human beings somehow forgot. That's why, the Diogenes, someone who studied philosophy might be aware of, know this person. He's the person, in one sense, quite famous in the Western philosophy. And he's the one who said that to Alexander, that, Alexander came and then conquered the whole world, and then so-called whole world, is not really whole world. What can I do for you? And he said, you can do one thing for me. Please stand out of my light. That's what he said. So this Diogenes said one thing interesting. He said, the Prometheus in the Greek philosophy, Greek mythology, you know the Prometheus. Have you heard Prometheus? Yeah, Prometheus. What he did? Do you remember what he did, Prometheus? He stole the fire from the kingdom of the god, and then he brought to the human society so that human being can have a fire, so that they can have heat and light, all these things. And then he said that, quite interestingly, because of that, the god was angry. So he had a punishment that he was tied down on the rock over here, and then the crows, they come to kind of chewing his heart, eating his heart away. Do you remember this one? Yes? And then he said that this Prometheus had a right punishment. Why? Because he brought light or fire to the human society, and then he made the human beings' life get more complicated. And then people somehow or other make them enjoy more, and then rather than doing their own kind of a right thing to do. So in this way, because it's so-called in the life, it's really, in one sense, it's good if you use it properly. But unfortunately, we either misuse or abuse of this light. That's a human tendency. It's everywhere the same. Car is good as long as you use it properly, but we misuse or abuse. That's the whole society problem. You know, it's like when I go to some kind of other countries, the place where we need 4x4 car, very strong car, they are struggling with some cart. But here in UK, we don't need a 4x4 car. What they use? They use for school runs. Yes? But it looks good. Can you imagine how much kind of resources put into to make this 4x4 car? The original purpose of usage and then the way of their using it, it doesn't match. Like a human form of body, the same thing. We are given this body to have opportunity to serve Krishna. That's why Bhagavatam explains that if it's the heavy turban or eyes or hands or whatever, if it's not used for the service, it's a useless thing. We have unique chance, have some intelligence to understand God, but misusing this intelligence. So in this way, Nidra also, quite interesting aspect. So, one time the other day, I was having a discussion. I will share it with the other devotee. Let me share it again. One professor, he's a famous professor, and he just had a conversation with me. And when he was young, he was reading Karl Marx's The Capitalism. And in that capitalism, in that book, it says that capitalism has its own seed of destruction. At that time, I didn't know what did it mean by that. Capitalism has its own seed of destruction. So what kind of seed is that? Yes. Entangling, that's a good answer. What else? Greed, yes. Exploitation. These two words I was looking for. Exactly. Greed and exploitation. Capitalism society founded or structured, interwoven by greed and exploitation. You go any leadership course or any manager's course, you know what they teach? They give such a flowery word to control the people. If you do this, you make things done without make them complaining things. Basically, the principle is exploitation and greed. A friend of mine went to the leadership course. And then, now, they were studying why Japanese, they were totally destroyed after Second World War But now it came up to the kind of a G7, it's kind of top country in the world, one of the top countries. Yeah. And then they're looking at their company structure and then analyzing. Actually, they found that there is a family relationship within the company. So basically, they have more kind of bonding relationship. So that in the one of British company also, okay, let's imbibe this kind of principle. We also, let's have a family bondings. And then we relate to more, and then let's be nice to each other or whatever. But fundamental line is why they do that? Motivation is to get things more out of that person, to make work more hours without asking for overtime. You know that in the Bhagavatam says that jivo jivasya jivanam. One living entity is food for another. I thought is only in the animal kingdom. But I found that actually it's not. It's within the human being's life also. There, only food they kill the other party. But here, not just for food. They have enough, but in order to have more, just a little bit more. Just a little bit more they kill, and they exploiting, they do manipulating, and so many things. You know, I went to also leadership course, unfortunately, but I had some note here. At that time, I didn't really think about it, but in the related Srimad Bhagavatam, I read it this morning again. Quality of good leader. This is my note from leadership course. Look, how to engage people. Ask questions. So here, anyone wants to be managers, yes, listen carefully. So for example, manager says to the clerk, so, okay, you type up this one by tomorrow morning. Yes? And tomorrow morning comes, and then somehow the clerk didn't do it. Then the way of deal, we have to deal with it. So how are you going to deal with it? Some manager says, why you didn't do it? Or some manager say, if you don't do by the noon, you'll be out of job. Some may say that. But he's saying, good managers, you know how to deal with it? You ask questions. When are you going to do it? Rather than for you to give order, make them think that when I'm going to do it. So make them committed to their own words. So this is how you engage people. Nice strategy, isn't it? Yeah? So this is how they engage people. And also give job to the cleaning. So rather than saying, okay, you clean today. No. Just ask nicely. Oh, Babuji, when are you going to clean it? Ask questions. And then listen to the team. And make them involved with teamwork, team relationship. If you don't do your job, not only I'm be angry, whole team will suffer. So imbibe the teamwork. And then thirdly, this is the most important principle. Must not impose a solution. Don't make a solution for them. Make them find out. Yes. If you use nicely for the service, it's okay, but try not to exploit them. Never find the solution. Even if you find the solution, don't impose it. So this is a leadership they teach. You know, it's like trying to exploit maximum. In this regard, can I show you proper leadership? At the moment, this is a proper book. This is Shasru Maharaj. He condensed the Lilamrita into one book. It's an amazing book. Here proper leadership. Proper leadership is interesting. It was from the very young age. Since he started working, his leadership started, he showed leadership quality. And then, in this book doesn't say leadership, but because in terms of, I have the glass of leadership, that's why I could see this is a leadership, yes? And you know all the story. And the Prabhupada wanted to do Ratayatra, yes? And he was doing Ratayatra, Ratayatra in Calcutta, and then he wanted to make his own card, and he was doing it. And he asked for the father, yes, Father, can I have a card? And then the father, okay, you bought your card. So, story starts from here. Prabhupada got the card. And then what? Prabhupada asked all his friends, neighbors, come, let's do it together. And then, and ask all the mothers, please cook something for this Jagannath, so you can distribute them. And then people, all the mothers, they were happy. And then he says that Prabhupada engaged his playmates in helping, especially Buddha Bhavana. Engaging, let me read it properly. This is such a wonderful thing. Here, Abai was also enamored with Ratayatra festival of Lord Jagannath. And then he said that here, so here, Abai wanted to have his own card, perform his own Ratayatra. Naturally, he turned to his father for help. Gorman bought him a used 3-foot-high rat, and father and son together constructed sporting clubs. Sri Sri Radha Gopalanda ki jai, Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman ki jai, Sri Sri Gauranitai ki jai. So here, father and son together constructed the sporting columns and placed a canopy on the top. And then here comes Abai engaged his playmates in helping, especially his sister Bhavatanini, and he became their natural leader. Responding to his entreaties, amused mothers in the neighborhood agreed to cook special preparations so that he could distribute prasadam at this Ratayatra festival. So, in proper sense of leadership means we work together to serve together. It's not that manager means get things done in a way that you like by others. No. Proper leadership is that he himself is involved and make work together, collectively. And also, not only Prabhupada, Prabhupada's father, Gorman, and Prabhupada said here that rest of his life, one image of his father stuck in his mind, for the rest of his mind. What is that? That was late night, father was worshipping Radha Krishna at home, and ding, 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 the bell sound. Because, father was a cloth merchant, and sometimes he finished that. And even if it comes late, and then he's still doing his puja. And then in the middle of the night, he just, father, the sound of bell woke him up. And then he saw his father, and then doing the puja. Kind of he set example of devotion. And then after reading this, sometimes whether it's right or not, right is wrong, I'm not sure. But I would realize that within the ISKCON, there are so many Gurukulis. But my Guru Maharaj said only 5% of Gurukulis are actively involved with service. I don't know how far it is true, but I'm sure there must be some reason he said that. And then I was puzzled that why the Gurukulis, their best opportunity was given from the childhood to, up to age of 15 or 16. They've been involved in movement, they educated in this environment, and then a lot of them, only festival they turn up. Most of the time, they don't get involved at all. And also, unfortunately, some of them they're against ISKCON. They don't want to have nothing to do with ISKCON. And then I met one person, one Gurukul in Korea. She was an English teacher. And then when we were at Harinam, somehow she joined up. And we exchanged the contact. And then there is class, she came. And then she sat down in class and finished. And then we were having the prasadam. And she said that, actually I left ISKCON. And then in 15 years, first time, I sat in the class. There was something that kind of we made this Gurukuli go away. And then maybe, this is maybe, because it's not for sure, a lot of things has to do with at home. It's easy to show our devotion in the temple. When you bring the children or you join the festival, we do nice things. Very easy. And it looks devotional. We wear nice clothes, nice sari, and nice dhoti, and put the tilak on, whatever. But at home, what we do, that counts for the children. Ultimately, children, they learn from parents. Ultimately, what parents do, not in the temple, at home, that counts. According to this Prabhupada's book. So in this way, human beings' nature naturally, originally, has to do with the self. When you look at children, they are naturally happy within the kirtan. You look at children, very young children, they are naturally joyful. They are naturally smiling. They are laughing all the time. But as we grow older, smile disappears, and dancing disappears, singing disappears. Only you have a certain mood and environment, then you dance. But children, it's not like that. They are naturally Krishna conscious. But what we are losing ultimately, what we are losing is the basic fundamental happiness, being with Krishna. We are losing it. Why? By that greed, and then by the exploitation mentality. When people gather, they exchange the name card. Why? Maybe one day this person may be useful for my interest and comfort. This is our mentality. And then ahara, nidra, bhaya also. Bhaya means, what is bhaya? Bhaya means the fear, and then the feeling of defense. They so-called justice. It's not Plato. One person, it is also a philosopher. He said that justice is nothing but an advantage of the riches or those who has power. In this day and age, there are so many laws. These laws has to do with justice, but this is just nothing but expression of those who have already. And then I was thinking, on the way to the temple, I'm thinking about class, and then, nowadays the Americans, they are trying to control the whole world, but now they're having their own problems. These Americans said that 1492, the Columbus found America. And then after that, he founded the land, the Western Indian, the island. And then the mainland, who found was, the name is the Amerigo Vespucci, something like that. That's why the American land called America. The person who founded that land is called Amerigo Vespucci, something like that. So history written according to their understanding. What do you mean that found? It was there already. It was a land of American Indians. And then they went there And then they kill the original Indians, and then it's all mine. And then they're saying that now they put the Indians in some reserve area, and then you live on this way. So this is a kind of a real exploitation, isn't it? And then after that, they're trying to protect their land. They develop so many weapons, and then nothing but one sense, because they did in that way, they have so much fear, they have to develop weapons also. Ahara, Nidra, here, Bayam also. Yeah, there are a lot of aspects to it, if you get into it. And then the time is coming to end, so let's finish it, the last item also. Sex life. Animals, they have a regulated sex life. When the female goes through the period, they mate. Other than that, they don't mate. But only human beings, they mate whenever they like. There is no regulations. That to become human being, you become Grihastha. If you want to beget children, you get together once a month. That's it. But most of the time nowadays, modern day lifestyle is that male and female, they sleeping on the same bed. They can mate anytime they want. It's interesting that the house structure of the Korea in olden days, especially educated people, they have a woman's quota and male's quota. I don't know in India, but in Korea it's like that. And also, they set a date, and then on the set day, they sleep together. So woman always has their own quota. So this is a human being's life. But nowadays, modern days, king size bed, and the king size double bed, two bed or whatever. And they sleep together. This is not a healthy lifestyle. So in this way, our human being, so-called human being, it looks like a human being, has a long way to go to reach the state of animals. Not to speak of spiritual life. But fortunately, thanks to Prabhupada, we kind of directly trying to go the top stage of human being. Out of so many human beings, not many people takes up spiritual life. So we trying to take a spiritual life. How fortunate we are. In this way, whatever we do, we need to have appreciation. And also, when you see animal, we have to pay paranam. Let me reach that your stage. Yes? We develop respect. You have to develop respect for him. Any animal, any dog, any cat, you have to respect. And then once we reach that stage, once we can control at least eating and sleeping, for us, kind of one sense, it's good. Because we have a regulated lifestyle, 10, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then a certain time we go to bed, and we have a continued this regulated lifestyle. And then, based on this, and we trying to chant more and read more. Unless until we read, this doesn't click your mind. And also, Prabhupada will show you whatever you want is in this book. Yeah? If you want to have leadership, rather than going to leadership course, you read this book. You'll find the element of leadership in here, everything. Prabhupada said, I've written enough. I've given enough. Which means that nothing lack in Prabhupada books, nothing lack in Srimad Bhagavatam, nothing lack in Bhagavad Gita. We watch BBC all the time as a Grihastha. But as a devotee, we have to watch BBC also. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So watching means, it's not just reading it, you have to kind of get involved, and you have to relish it, you have to make image, you have to visualize. Yes? You have to visualize it. Once you visualize, then you relish more, and then every single bit you're talking, every single bit you watch, every single bit you see through the eyes of BBC. Wonderful. Yesterday also I was sharing one verse with a devotee that Kunti Devi showed us how to do this. She said, Nama Pankaja Nabaya, Nama Pankaja Marline, Nama Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajangraye. When Kunti Devi sees things, Nama Pankaja Nabaya. Belly, which is normal belly, is not that pretty. But Kunti Devi sees a lotus flower-like belly. And then Nama Pankaja Marline. And any garland is like lotus-like garlands. So here like a beautiful garlands. But when Kunti Devi sees, it's Edguja like a lotus flower. And then Nama Pankaja Netraya, and eyes also. Krishna's eyes like a lotus flower. It's like she laid lotus flower with every aspect of Krishna. And then Namaste Pankajangraye. And then upper obeisance to Namaste, your lotus feet. That's why we say lotus feet. If you have a real Krishna consciousness within you, then whatever you see turn into lotus. Nothing ugly. Yeah? Sometimes if you have to clean, that cleaning the dust itself is a lotus dust. And then you sweep up, and then it becomes nice, everything nice. And also I have great respect for this Prayojan Baba's service. And I used to be a temple commander. And then I was so disturbed. Everyone make a mess. Another thing to do. That's why it didn't last long. But he lasted for more than now, nearly 10 years. I realized that what's the difference between and him? I didn't last very long, and he's lasting so long. I was thinking, what's lack in me? What's wrong with me? I realized that because of my vision. He sees, and his mess, he sees aftermath after he cleans. So nice. But what I see is only mess. Only my work that involved. According to your consciousness, you see things. This is important. Anything happens to your life. If you change your consciousness, there is no such a thing called problem. Only opportunity to serve. That's it. Whatever you face it. Even on the street, I guess the same. So in this way, ultimately, consciousness, that matter. That's why Prabhupada named as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. What a wonderful name. The Prabhupada disciples said, no, Prabhupada, let's make an International Society for God Consciousness. Then more people will come. People are not familiar with Krishna. Prabhupada said, no, Krishna Consciousness. That's it. Then Prabhupada, it's too long. Let's take away consciousness. International Society for Krishna. Let's make it like this. A bit short and easy to print. And then, better to represent. Prabhupada said, no, consciousness has to be there. What a wonderful thing. So we have wonderful thing. And also, you enjoy whatever you do in the service. Okay, is there any comment or question? I'm sorry, a bit